Well, in the shop, got myself the FMS Futura 64 millimeter. It's just a shrunk down version of the 80, which is a fantastic flyer. So, pretty excited about this plane. This is basically it's the same thing except no retracts. Everything else is similar, and this is a 4S instead of 6S. So there's some differences there. In this video, I'm going to do what I normally do, right? I'm going to quickly go over all the parts, take a look at them, make comments about them, what I think, assemble it, show some of the things that go through the assembly. If there are any hiccups, I'll point those out. Maiden it, going to have my final settings. I'll show those final settings, and then go into just pushing the plane a little bit, and then the summary. Who's this plane for? Is this the best beginner EDF? No. But I'm going to go through who this plane is for, why you might want this in your hangar. So if you like what I'm doing, hit that like button. Helps me out. It helps me understand I'm making the right content. If you have a question, leave a comment. Stick around. Just got the FMS 64 millimeter Futura Sport Jet. I've had the 80 millimeter for a little bit, and it has been an outstanding sport jet. So FMS was kind enough to send me the 64 for me to take a look at, and obviously fly the heck out of it, but also compare it. A lot of people are interested in comparing why go 6S versus 4S. So hope to be able to do that in some videos upcoming. Real quick though, as we look at setup, it looks like we're dealing with foam hinges, all the control horns, all the control rods, everything's already installed, which is awfully nice. Again, I mean, the quality is there, right? The finish is fantastic. That's what amazes me about some of these newer foam planes that are out today. When you look at the quality of the foam, now this has stickers over it. I believe this is all sticker, it's not paint, the yellow, but that's okay. Screw on configuration as far as assembly. No gluing required there. Same thing here. It's funny as I look at the tail section. It's just like the 80 millimeter. Everything about it, it's just shrunk down, if you will. No lights that I have seen so far. Nose cone that has a clip on it instead of a magnet. That's they've all been doing that. Now, as far as the wing connections, they're not a quick connect, so I'm going to have to actually, pull those out, and the assembly on this is going to be obviously very simple. It's not a big process at all to make that happen. Got a nice latch. Let's take a look at what's going on under the hood. So they don't have any, there's no gyro or anything in it, no reflex. They've got reverse thrust, which is handy. And then you have all the normal things you'd see. So we do have flaps on this plane, which is nice for, some of these small 64 millimeters sometimes don't have that. So that's nice. We got flaps on that. So they do have that trailing link suspension, and I've seen people really beat the heck out of that, and they seem to hold up well. Tires aren't, they're not soft, they're rigid. They will squish, but probably make a little rattly noise, but probably not too bad. So that's it on the unboxing. What I notice, primarily is it's just a very well put together. The foam is in good, it's good looking foam. Assembly is going to go together super fast because, there's no gluing. It's just screwing some stuff on, and should be super quick and easy. It'll take more time to deal with the radio than anything else. So let's get after it. So we got to put these in, make sure we're going the right yellow to yellow, and black to black, or brown to brown, brown to black. I'm going to tuck the wires in. And here's another handy tool that I like. So I can just grab these wires that I need to grab and pull on them. Make sure that tucks in properly as I just pull these wires in. They are all the same size. It makes life a lot easier. The assembly on these things is really, it's in a whole different world than what we used to have to deal with. That wasn't lined up perfectly. There we go. Pull this off. Not sure why we got that to deal with. From here, I'm going to grab the elevator plug. Double check. That's done. Poke it down into that cavity. Make sure it's all the way down. Okay, that just takes a little force to put in, but not too bad. And then now add our screws. That one went in just fine. Alright, now again I'm pulling on some wires to take up the slack on the aileron and the flap. Tucking those wires into the cavity and all right, super easy build. Wheels are on, they snap into place. The one on the front slides on. You got a couple grub screws. Here I have a 631 programmed. And then I have the antenna. Don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it's tucked up there, and I've got a tube that runs the length of the up here. And so it's sitting up there. Got the radio connected. I'm going to try 2200s and 3300s. Model Aviator, he was using the 3300 4S's and really liked the longer flight times, and he said it performed great. And watch his video. You'll see it flies fantastic on those larger batteries. So that is a winner for me. So I'm going to give that a try, and so far, I mean, it's one of the easier setups I've done. Everything looks good, clean. It's a great little plane. Super lightweight too, really light. Anyway, we're gonna Maiden it and go from there. All right, we're gonna Maiden the Futura 64. All right, we have the gyro off right now while we trim her out. We'll click the gyro on to test everything. One thing I noticed is my nose wheel is a little out of whack, but not too bad. We're not going to use flaps. We're not going to do anything. All we're going to do is get her up, trim her, do a couple tests, and bring her down. I have no idea on the, I got the flight timer set for 3 minutes, but I think we'll be able to do a lot longer than that, but let's see what happens. Double check everything one last time. We got it in low rates. Okay. Get out of the sun. Boy. Backing down on throttle, about 50% on throttle, maybe 75%. A little up, elevator. Not much. She's pretty trimmed. That's just no gyro, no nothing. Alright, I'm going to put it into AS3X. Use the gain setting I got from Model Aviator's page. That's all looking good. Let's do a power test. See how much power we got. Pretty good. Try a stall test. Once you just mushes down, let's give a little flap.
Takeoff flaps.
Takeoff flap. Just cruising around. Let's do a stall test with the takeoff flap. Full elevator and mushes. Pretty good.
Landing flaps.
Full,
Time remaining 1 minute.
full flap. Okay, adjust the elevator a little bit. I got too much. I need to give a little bit more up elevator on that, but let's bring her in for a couple approaches.
Takeoff flaps.
I'm going to go back to takeoff flap. Drop some altitude here. We got a lot of speed. Cut throttle. She's gliding in. It's pretty uneventful. Well, I would say pretty easy flying plane. Very easy, slow flyer. Got a 3300 in it. Flew for 3 minutes, easy. It wasn't pushing it at the pack at all. So it'll be interesting to see what we got on the battery. All right, and that was landing with half flap. All right, we're gonna tune her up a little bit more and fly her again. Let the CG move back just a hair. Let's see what that does.
Takeoff flaps. Flaps up.
Pass, full throttle. So basic performance. It just is a nice cruising plane. Nothing super fast, nothing super unstable. It just does a lot of the big maneuvers that the larger planes can do. It has enough thrust, power, not fast, but plenty of power to go slow and then punch it and go straight up. So, from that standpoint, pretty impressive power system.
Takeoff flaps.
Gonna do a touch and go, Matt.
One thing that kind of impressed me was just I could chop the throttle and point the nose, keep the nose pointed down, and it'll glide quite a ways and just keep on gliding. Pretty impressive. Reminded me of a Habu, but it's not the Habu, but I tell you what, it was pretty darn impressive.
Takeoff flaps. Time remaining 1 minute.
Cut back down to idle. Nose down, little throttle. I'll put her on half flap or full flap again after I make this turn here.
Landing flaps.
Full flap.
By the way, if you like the content, hit that like button for me. Also, if you're interested in this plane, in the description is an affiliate link for this. Helps me out, throws me a couple bucks. I appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the channel.
Finish that out.
Takeoff flaps. Landing flaps.
Full flap. Nice and slow around this turn here.
She is floaty. You'll see here where I'm just trying to get the nose up and she just wants to keep on gliding.
Nose up.
Braking.
Here's an example. Cruising slow, punch it, and no problem climbing, doing a Cuban 8 with minimal power. And just smooth and tight. I mean, it could do a big loop if you wanted to, but it'll really perform well. Very impressive. Welcome back to the shop. Let's do a summary on this thing. First and foremost, when you go through this process, right, of getting the plane, taking a look at it, assembling, super easy to assemble, went together super fast. Took longer to program the radio and get that all sorted out than it did to really assemble it. Now, I'm filming it all, but it takes a little longer when you're doing that kind of stuff. Flyability, I was really impressed. If you're trying to compare it to a 6S, don't, because it's not. It doesn't have that horsepower, it doesn't have that speed. It is a fast plane, but it's not breaking any records. At least, for me it wasn't. But from a flyability, just the way it flies from an EDF perspective, like its big brother, this is a much easier plane to fly than the 6S version of this. This will fly slower. The stall tendencies on this are very good as far as it just plopping down. I miscalculated on some landings a few times, and it just kind of plopped out of the sky. Whereas like my Viper would have dropped the wing, cartwheeled, ripped up the wings and nose and tail. So this plane, from that standpoint, pretty good. The reverse thrust on this, if you needed it, it's pretty capable as well. So if you're coming in a little hot, hit that reverse thrust and it saves you from running off the runway. So from a flyability standpoint and all its capabilities, I really, really enjoyed it. I don't have any negatives about it yet. I mean, as I've flown it a bunch, it's just a simple, fun EDF with inexpensive batteries. It's inexpensive to cost overall from the plane's perspective. Low cost of entry. Easy to fly. No bad tendencies. So if you're, experienced with a trainer and maybe had a sport plane, maybe had something like, a Cirrus or an RV7 or some of those low wing warbirds that are, like the 1.1s, 1.2 warbirds, and you want an EDF, this is perfect. You're going to have a blast with this plane and you'll really enjoy it. So to summarize it, that's who I think this plane is for. This is for somebody who knows how to fly, is enjoying their faster sport, prop planes and wants their first EDF. easy way to get into it, and you don't have to buy those 6S batteries. So there's some pluses there. That's my take. Good plane, a lot of fun. If you like what I'm doing, hit the like. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.